Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Understanding Your Information Risk with Microsoft, Cognni, and MDS. We are going to get started. Ash Marcos, he's our Security and Compliance Practice Lead, is going to kick it off with a little bit more information about MDS and our partnership with Cognni.
Thank you, Sam. Hello, everyone. My name is Ash Marcos. I run the cybersecurity and compliance here at MDS. Today, we're gonna have a quick discussion around how do you secure your data? How do you discover what's being shared from your either Office 365, OneDrive, SharePoint, or any other cloud-based collaboration tool? How do you make sure those tools are not oversharing information? The importance of discovering what's being shared and how to protect it. I'm going to start quickly with introducing who we are. Maureen Data System, we're a New York-based consulting firm focusing on cloud, helping our customers migrate to a cloud, and then also assisting them in securing it and meeting regulatory compliance. We were funded in 1994. We've been around. We have about 80 engineers that are certified. We're also women-owned, New York State, and we have a couple of branch offices down in Florida, Texas, and Puerto Rico. 4 areas that we focus on: security and compliance, cloud infrastructure, productivity and application that's around the cloud applications such as Office 365, SharePoint, OneDrive, and then also we assist our customers in cloud managed services. These are some of the industries that we focus on. We have a wide variety of customer base. So we have good experience working with enterprise accounts, government accounts, and also small business. We do partner with key partners, cloud providers, security providers, and assisting customers to choose the right solution, the right security tools to be secure. And today we're partnering with Cognni. Cognni is one of the leader in identifying cloud data that's being shared, and then how to help you protect it to meet regulatory and security compliance. A little bit credential on MDS. We've won a variety of award from different vendors and customers. The highlight here is the Microsoft Security and Compliance Worldwide finalist and winner for the LATAM and the Caribbean regions. This is primarily to do with our security and compliance focus, especially around GDPR and making sure our customers are secure when they migrate to the cloud. Our competencies, focusing on the Microsoft side, we're gold competency, and we have about 12 competencies. And today, what I want to talk to you about, and Serena will talk to you in more details, is the importance of data security, governing your data, especially around the cloud component. And Gardner says this is now a CEO responsibility, make sure that your data, your customer data, the corporate data is governed, and you identify the risk, especially as you grow the company and the data growth, especially around unstructured data. Having appropriate governance and discovering what's being shared is going to become critical, right? From a security compliance perspective, there are different tools, different methods that you can discover, right? And this could be in conjunction with existing tools such as DLP solution, sensitive labeling and classification tools, but also it leads to having the appropriate policy procedures the governance aspect of it, and having a holistic data governance around managing your data is going to be a key component. These are just some of the examples. Um, and the world we live in is changing, right? So everything used to be behind the firewall on premises. Now things have moved on devices, especially with this COVID um, era that we're living. Everyone should be able to work from anywhere, from home, from their mobile device, from their home computer that their kids are playing with, and they need to access multiple cloud, whether it's a corporate or the client, and this leads to data being overshared, data that's being exposed with no visibility into from IT and security team. um, and Office 365 and Microsoft is the leader that enable everyone to collaborate, right? And it does have a security component tools. And one of the challenge both Microsoft and other vendors that have identified is how do we discover this unstructured data, right? Is it in your email? Did you overshare it? Who's aware that you shared it? Does it have a retention period on it, right? Um, so the key component here is going to be know your data. So the very first thing you have to do, this is a very basic data governance approach. Know your data. Where's your data? And one of the biggest area that's very hard to track is around the unstructured data. Uh, Basically, unstructured data is data that can roam around in different systems. In an email, in an attachment, on a USB, or nowadays sharing it with OneDrive, Dropbox, Box, any of the cloud collaboration tool. Um, and then applying the appropriate protection around it, and applying the appropriate data governance. So this is one of the big challenge, and Cogni is here to help us discover those data and the risk around those data, right? It's not just only going to discover this data are being overshared, but also this data are sensitive, they're HR data, and the risk on this particular data is higher than if someone shares a marketing one pager to the whole world versus an HR data. And then that's where Cogni is going to help us. So um, I took this slide deck from Cogni just to show you, your data is your key asset, right? And knowing where it is and understanding where your data is and how you can apply security controls, security policies is going to be a key asset for especially for your risk assessment, data governance, and data protection. So at this point, I'll stop and introduce you to Serena from Cogni. Serena.
Thanks, Ash. I'll just share my screen with everybody today. 1 second. Okay. All right, thank you everyone. I'm very excited to be here today to introduce you to the Cogni platform. So I just want to pick up where Ash left off because and how we can really help you guys understand the meaning of your data information, but also how to be able to protect your data as well. And this is what our platform specializes in. We have a platform that is really pioneering right now in information security. But before we get into that, I just want to start off with the name Cogni and what that means exactly. Because you see, we've created something quite unique in the AI security arena, and I want to highlight on this. Our tool utilizes cognitive intelligence, meaning we've trained our AI to mimic a human thought. So it's not only focused on understanding user behavior, but also information type and the meaning behind every shared event occurring in an organization. And because of this, our platform, Cogni, can really provide information intelligence in the information security and compliance space. Our AI gives you cognitive insights, which means giving context to information shared via the cloud. And this is used to make your M365 InfoSec tools work more effectively. So in a nutshell, what we're really doing is adding that extra layer of security to the current tools that you are already using.
Hey, Serena, it looks like people can't see your screen. I'm not sure if you're screen share.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. Thank you for letting me know.
No worries.
Okay, is this better?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, that was the slide before. Okay, I'm going back. So today, this virus has hit us with a new reality, and where organizations at the moment have had to change the way they're doing business and really embrace, working remotely via the cloud. More employees, I'm sure this resonates with most of you right now, are working from home. And because of this, information security and compliance is, of course, more important than ever. In fact, pre-corona, the average employee was creating about 10 shared events a day. And if you were to take a company that, let's just say, has 1,000 employees, and we do the math, that's about 10,000 shared events a day. And I'm sure you can all imagine how this number has now multiplied. So not only is security more important than ever, but it's also harder than ever. And a big part of an InfoSec team's job is really knowing how employees are accessing, sharing, creating, and storing information in the cloud. You guys need to be able to ensure that all sensitive business information is shared securely and, of course, in accordance with compliance regulations. Our platform, Cognni, is really helping businesses right now understand how information is being shared and accessed within an organization. And it's really helping businesses know what information is at risk. Today, if you haven't already moved to the cloud, you most likely will be forced to. And the biggest challenge that most organizations are faced with is not having the understanding and full visibility of how information is being accessed and which risks really exist. And this applies for both pre-cloud and post-cloud types of organizations. Regardless of how many InfoSec tools you're currently using and how much manpower you have in your security team, which is generally quite limited, it's generally an impossible task for security teams to be able to map all that information being shared or detect all the information risks and even investigate every alert. So our Cognni platform, we've developed an AI that really hunts for information risks that security teams generally don't even know exist. Our platform, let's just say, goes beyond information discovery, which generally relies on pre-configured policies. So searching for predefined risks, protecting information according to regulations. And our platform really broadens the scope of what events could be risky. So it's really ensuring that all those risks can be discovered. Let's give an example so we all understand what we're talking about right now. If David shares a file with Jennifer, let's just say that wasn't tagged as sensitive or confidential, or that includes PII indicators like social security or credit card data, that sharing event is not marked as a risk. However, what if David shared HR information that Jennifer is not authorized to even receive, since she works in sales? The question is this a risky share? What is really the meaning of this incident and what really happened there? So you see, only using information discovery to protect your information makes it hard to take the right actions because you don't really understand the meaning of these events. So at the end of the day, what Cognni is doing is driving information discovery into the age of information intelligence. As mentioned before, our AI mimics the thought process of a human brain. So it's constantly learning from user behavior and building an associated memory. So when an event happens, Cognni actually looks at the abstract data related to that event, and then also checks with its associated memory. And of course, then we can connect the dots much like a person would. So let's go back to the example before. Cognni can tell us that that file that David shared with Jennifer could be a potential risk. We know that David is from finance and that Jennifer is from sales. And as a matter of fact, that shared information was a financial document created by the CFO last week, copied and given a new name. Our platform actually knows to question this event because it understands the meaning of the event. So you see, once you have these insights and you know that this is a risk to your company, you're now equipped so you can take the right action, whether that is creating the right policy or activating the right playbook. And if you didn't have the context and the meaning of this information before, you really actually wouldn't be able to do this, because you probably would create a policy based on assumption that would perhaps block sharing of sensitive information. But what if Jennifer actually works in finance and should be receiving this information? You'd be blocking the business flow and slowing down productivity, which is generally what's happening these days in organizations. So at the end of the day, what Cognni is doing is really clearing the noise and focusing on exactly what needs protection. Our advanced investigation tool also complements all the other InfoSec tools related to M365. So whether it be an MIP or programs like MCAS or Sentinel that alert you about events, our platform Cognni can really help you understand the context behind each incident and alert. So really what we are doing is making these other tools think smarter, reducing integration time, and even simplifying the utilization of these tools, which for sure I can tell you right now is saving IT teams hundreds of hours. And trust me, we have many use cases of this. Because you see, once you have these insights and the understanding of what is being shared, who is sharing it, and if it is causing a risk to your organization, it's of course easier for you to take the appropriate action, because now you actually understand what to protect. So the best part about Cognni is that it runs out of the box. It takes less than 5 minutes to connect to our platform, because all we require is your global admin. And through that, we automatically scan through the organization's Active Directory. So whether that is, through OneDrive, SharePoint, Exchange, and Teams. There's no extra work required and there's no extra setup needed on your end. It's just really that simple. From day one, you will guarantee see a high ROI. And that is because there's no new training needed. There's no additional hiring costs. There's no user involvement or disruptions because we're not blocking the business. And in fact, the users wouldn't even know that Cognni is scanning in the background. And we're complementing the Microsoft tools that you are either using or going to be using. Also, just to let you know, we are compliant. We're HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 and ISO compliant. And now I'd like to just share with you a couple of use cases of how we've actually managed to help some of our clients today with using the Cognni platform. I might just take you to the Cognni platform very quickly, just to give you guys all a feel of the interface and what it actually looks like. It's much more interesting, but very quickly, I'll just take you through a few use cases. This is a very interesting story and quite a common one. Most organizations generally want to see what their employees are doing and if they are about to leak any information externally or to their own personal, Gmail accounts. The story with this one is that we had a company in the UK and they wanted to fire about 80 employees. And before they did, they really wanted to keep an eye on these employees to understand if they were going to leak any information before or after they were made redundant. They actually hired system integrators, they hired analysts, and it wasn't until someone from Microsoft that recommended Cognni were they able to pick up in just minutes that a fired employee happened to leak confidential business information to hundreds of organizations. So this is one example of a malicious event that could happen, but usually quite a common one, believe it or not, is what we find is when upper management are generally sharing finance or legal information and that gets exposed outside the organization. And believe it or not, we all think that upper management are generally keeping a tight ship when it comes to security. So most of the time, these risks that are being caused to your organization are not necessarily malicious acts. They generally, without even realizing that they're doing it. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen with you and take you to the dashboard. Okay, so what you should all be seeing right now is the Cognni dashboard. Over here, just very quickly, as I went through before, what you're seeing is that in this organization, we've managed to pick on all the information through Teams, so any shared files through Teams, and that's, you're seeing the start date there. Here we've got Exchange, and here is OneDrive. We've actually broken it up into information type and category. So you can see we've got business, finance, governance, HR, legal, and management and strategy. So I've taken you to the incidents page, and what this means is I'm showing you right here the top 20 risks that we've flagged for you under these categories. So if I click over here, for example, we can see that there's total incidents of 31 and a high risk we flagged at 14. So when I click here, we can actually break that down. There's two ways to see this information. We've got a view over here, and we've also got this radar over here. When I click over here, it's actually going to take me to see and do a further investigation. So I can see that this was an anonymous share, and the name, who shared it, the owner, the information type, and where it was sent. So it came from OneDrive. We flagged it at severity as high. So if I want to do the investigation, it's now going to show me over here the actual trail of this file and where it actually got sent to, in internal and external shares. So over here you can see that it actually got exposed to Amy. This was the file name, the owner, the time and the date, and here is the trail of the file. So something we also specialize in is clustering, and what that actually means is, and I think I mentioned this earlier, is that if, for example, Joan happened to change the file name and changed it again another time and then sent it and then changed it again, we're still able to group those files together and show you exactly where that file landed up. So this is what we call the incidents page. And again, can break it down according to, information type, and there's even subcategories. So let's just say you want to focus maybe just on salaries, you can do that. But now to the more interesting page is the insights page, and this is where you do the further investigation. So over here on the side, on the left-hand side, we actually have different radars, which you can see. We give you 4 radars: organization, employees, cloud folders, and then of course external contacts as well. If you would like to create your own radar, so let's just say create one on a specific employee, you have the option to do that. Show me everything, just want to show you guys how simple and easy it is to do. And then of course I'd like to perhaps want to call this maybe just organization of employees. Next, if I want to make it public or private, that basically just means anyone who has access to this dashboard, who has global admin, would be able to see it. Or if I want to make it private, I'm able to do that as well. But going back over here, if I click on this radar, what we're actually seeing is all the information that has been exposed to external organizations. And again, if I click, for example, on an anonymous link, we can see the severity of it. It's now going to break it down for me. So here we've got a profit and losses document. It's showing me that this got exposed to 4 people. There was 3 items in this cluster, and the information type was business information. So again, if I want to do the further investigation, here we go. It's showing me the internal shares and the external shares of this file. So you see, once you have this information, right, you understand if or not this is causing a risk to your organization. Now you can go and create the right policies, because now you understand what information needs to be protected. So nothing is based out of assumption. Just bear with me 1 second. I just need to go back to my other screen. Okay. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. At the end of the day, what you can see today is what our tool is providing you with is autonomous mapping, cognitive detection, and cognitive investigation. So I hope what you took from today's webinar, just to end things off, is that Cognni has a very innovative AI that can really quickly determine risks to information that you probably didn't even know existed. So Microsoft security and compliance tools, along with Cognni, really give you the complete solution for your InfoSec tools. Right now, just by the way, we are offering our core services for free for life, which is everything you saw today. So you're basically receiving a free risk analysis tool. Ash will share with you in a minute how we actually have a combined MDS Cognni landing page where you can actually register and connect to Cognni, our platform, in less than 5 minutes. Thank you everybody for your time today, and I hope this webinar was insightful and valuable use of your time. I'll just pass it over to you, Ash.
Hey, Serena, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Just check. So next step, Serena, you might want to go on mute. Yeah, thank you. So as a next step, what we're offering and Cognni, Cognni is offering the core service for free for life, and that includes the data mapping, data detection, and the investigation portion of it. So everyone that's on this call are entitled for this complimentary service, and it's fairly easy to set up. I think Sam sent out this link on the Teams chat, but you can copy this link. And if you can go in this link and sign up for this services, and MDS will reach out to you how to integrate it with your Office 365 and get the report, and then the service should identify what's being shared within your Office 365, what are the risk metrics, and what are the investigation, and how we can assist you in making sure those overshared information to secure it. Sam, back to you if there are any questions.
Yes, so the Q&A is open, so if you have any specific questions about what was discussed about the platform, about the offering that we have available, and the process to implement Cognni, feel free to type it into the Q&A, and I'll be able to field the questions for Serena and Ash. Just to let you know, the presentation, the link, and some other materials about risk management will be sent out to everyone by tomorrow. So you'll have those materials for you to review. And if you have any questions that come up in the next day or two, you can always reply back to that email, and we can work with your team. Yeah. So if there's no questions right now, we can give you back, a few minutes of your day. We really appreciate everyone for coming on and listening to our presentation today. Again, you'll be receiving everything, so feel free to reach out within the next, whenever you're ready, and we'll be able to accommodate you. Oh, there is actually one question. How quickly is the integration with Office 365?
The integration portion of it is just less than 5 minutes, and Serena, you can correct me, and then we would recommend at least a couple of days for it to scan and do the discovery portion of it.
Takes about just 24 hours just to scan the information, just because the system needs to keep running, as that's how we pick up on all the information. But in just under 24 hours, you'll start to see all your information and where all your exposures and risks are.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a very fast process, very good with time management. Cool. Thank you for your questions. Let's see. Cool. Okay. All right, it looks like there's not going to be any more coming in. So we'll wrap this up. And yeah, so thank you again for everyone's time, and we'll be in touch.